Do you believe that God has a plan for your life? I do. I've got this childlike faith that's honestly gets on my nerves sometimes because I believe so hard. So I think God's timing is perfect. I think that he shows us things in a timely manner. And I think God showed me something this morning. I just kind of want to break it down for you guys, for those of you who are interested in hearing it. So I'm reading through the Bible, and right now I've made it through Genesis, made it through Job, and now I'm back, finished Genesis again. So Genesis, Job, then Genesis again, because of the chronological order. I'm reading it chronologically, which if you haven't done, I really recommend you do. So now I'm in Exodus. Today is the first day of Exodus. And so Exodus is set up by, basically the children of Israel um, who have been in Egypt now for a while. They were saved from the famine, and Pharaoh brought them in because of Joseph. And now Joseph's gone, and they've been in Egypt now for 400 years. And now they're slaves because Pharaoh is basically saying, there's a lot of these Israelites, this nation of Israel that's now living here in Egypt. There's a bunch of them. So we need to enslave them to make sure that they don't overtake us or become friends with our enemies and whatever. So anyway, they end up in slavery. In the meantime, God's speaking to Moses because now Moses he's working for Pharaoh, but he's an Israelite because, you've heard the story about Moses' mother putting him in a basket. He floats down the stream, and Pharaoh's daughter finds him in the stream, takes him home, raises him in the household of the Pharaoh. So he's, just like Joseph was, he's very high in command in Egypt. So now he, through a series of events, he's now wandering in the desert because he killed somebody because they were mistreating an Israelite. So he's on the run now. God speaks to him in a burning bush. And I was telling Caitlin this morning, I know this stuff sounds so far-fetched, but it happened. All this stuff happened. This is not some made-up story. There's scientific evidence of a lot of this stuff happening, and this stuff is, you can look outside the Bible and get a lot of these stories too. Anyway, back to the thing. So God speaks to Moses in a burning bush, says, I want you to go and tell Pharaoh to let my people go. And then he basically even preps him and says, he's going to have a hardened heart. He's not going to want to hear what you got to say. Basically, he was telling him it's going to be a process. That's one of the things I picked out of it. It's a process. So, Moses says, I can't even talk right. And he says, well, take your brother with you. So he takes his brother. They go to Pharaoh. And he says, God says to let his people go. And Pharaoh says, that ain't going to happen. So part of the process, Pharaoh's heart's hardened. Anyway, through a series of plagues and stuff like that, and ultimately it ends up where the Passover happens, the very first Passover. And this is when God tells Moses, hey, tonight, or, I'm paraphrasing here, I'm sending an angel who's going to take the firstborn of every family. And the only way you can avoid this is to take the blood of the lamb and put it on your doorpost, over your doorpost and everything. And when this angel sees that you've got the blood of the lamb on your doorpost, he's going to pass over you. Well, so I would assume that most everybody in the nation of Israel who's living in Egypt now, they do this. I feel like I need to be in a hurry, but I'm not going to be in a hurry about this, all right? They all did it. All of their firstborns lived. Pharaoh did not do it. His firstborn died. So he's in mourning. This is after a bunch of plagues and a bunch of just like devastation to the nation of Egypt. So he finally says, go, just take your people and go. Well, in the meantime, I read this morning that God told the children of Israel, hey, go to your neighbors and say, give me gold, give me silver, give me clothes. I guess he was preparing them for, another step of the process. They would need money, clothes, sustenance. So when they did leave, they not only left a life, the only life that they had ever known, which was basically forced labor, slavery. They not only left that, but they left with means. Now they left with clothes. They didn't realize it was part of a process. So the thing that spoke to me this morning was they left. Pharaoh says, wait a minute, our economy is going to be crushed here. We can't just let our whole workforce go. We need to go get them. So he changes his mind. He sends his army. Meanwhile, children of Israel, probably fresh off a miracle, sitting at the Red Sea, and the first obstacle comes up. There's a sea in front of them. They can't get across. They hear that the army is coming to take them back into slavery, and they start in on Moses. And Moses is like, this is the plan. This is what God told me to do. But they're going, are you sure? You took us out of, at least we had homes, at least we had food, at least we knew what we were going to eat every night. At least we didn't have a whole army chasing after us. And here we are at the Red Sea. Way to go, Moses. Way to hear from God. And I can't say that I haven't felt like that. I have. If you're being honest, you probably have too, where you have, heard, felt, prayed, been confirmed that this is the way to go. This is what you need to do. And then you do it. And then you hit an obstacle. And then immediately you start questioning whether this was the plan. It's still the plan. It's just a process. So I'm standing at the Red Sea currently in my life right now, where I am walking through something that I know God told me was good to go. There was signs everywhere. It felt right. And for a short season, it did feel right. And then it didn't. And every children of Israel feeling in my body wants to go, at least before I did this, I had this and I had that. I had this and I had that. Are you sure that this was the plan, God? And I read that this morning. So, and I hope that maybe this helps you, but it's really, I'm talking to myself more than anything right now. Just because you're hitting an obstacle and just because you can't see the way through the water, just because you can't figure out how you're going to get across the Red Sea, God still has the plan. God is providing for you in stages. He's providing for me in stages. He will, if I'm listening to him and I'm praying that he provides for me and I'm praying for wisdom, he is going to get me across the Red Sea. He is. I believe that. It's my childlike faith speaking that if God says it, it's going to happen. But right now I'm sitting at the Red Sea, and I don't want to be like the rest of the Israelites there standing at the Red Sea going, way to go, Moses. Are you sure you got a plan? Are you sure there was a plan? You didn't mishear, did you? Maybe you were just emotional, Moses. So I feel like there's more parts to this than what I'm going to say today. But God knew that it was going to be a process. And I think that if we look at God's provision and God's plan in our life is a series of steps that we take. And some of the steps are just like what he did with Abraham. If you remember the story where Abraham was in his, he was way up in his 90s before he had his first child. But God's telling him the plan the whole time. He's saying, Abraham, look up in the sky. See if you can count the stars. That's how many kids you're going to have. And he believed it, and God counted it. He made the the Hall of Fame in Hebrews. I think it's Hebrews 11. I think it is, where the Hall of Fame is like where people are called out for their faith. Abraham said, okay, God, you've got a plan. And he tried to jump it a couple of times, which, Ishmael and a son born out of not him and Sarah. When God says there's a plan, don't try to shunt it. Don't try to shortcut it. Don't try to make it easier on God to get his plan done, because God has a plan. It's hard to wait, I know. But anyway, why did I go back to Abraham? Because God told Abraham there was a plan. Abraham didn't see. He waited. Sarah even laughed when she's way up in her 90s and there's still no baby yet. Anyway, I remember where I was going now. So in this plan, one of the obstacles was, and I don't totally understand this, don't claim to. I'm not a Bible scholar. This is just me thinking out loud here. But God told Abraham to take Isaac and sacrifice him. Now, whether Abraham really thought that this son that was born after 90-something years, he was going to have to sacrifice him, I don't know. Or if Abraham just knew that he was walking out the plan, that he knew that God would provide something at the top of that mountain. And sure enough, if you know the story, there's a ram caught in the thicket, and Abraham's able to sacrifice that because God says, no, I just wanted to see that you're still willing to walk the plan with me. And God did what he said he was going to do. It didn't happen on Abraham's timeline. When God told Moses to tell Pharaoh to let his people go, it happened on God's timeline. And even though people were doubting, and even though, here's the bad thing about not believing that there is a plan and you're in the plan and you're just walking the plan. God finally got to the point where he was saying, he said, here we are. This is the land that I promised you right here. I want you to send 12 spies into this land, and I want you to go and see. I want you to check it out. This is God's plan. This is what I've been promised. This is what I promised to Abraham, the land of milk and honey. And so he sent 12 spies, including Joshua and Caleb were in that band of spies. They went into the land. Joshua and Caleb came back going, we are pumped. Milk and honey. This is awesome. They believed that God had a plan and a promise, and that nothing was going to surprise God. The other 10 people said, there's giants over there. How are we going to take this land? Are you sure God promised us this land with giants in it? I mean, it looks like God would give us a land that didn't have anybody in it, where we could just take it. Another doubt, Here's what God did, and I've thought about this several times when I've been standing at the same Red Sea in my life. Not only did the rest of the children of Israel, all the 10 spies except for Joshua and Caleb, they didn't even get to see the promised land because of the process. The process is going to happen. Are you going to get to see? Depends on how much faith you have in the plan. So if God has a plan for your life, just trust it, Kevin. Just keep walking the plan. The obstacles that pop up in front of you are no surprises to God. He knows about them. Some of them are even obstacles that your stupid self caused yourself. Some of them are, some of them are not. But God still has a plan. We still need to walk the plan. Just because you can't see